Welcome Trailblazers to today's tutorial where I'll be going over some tips and recommended settings when configuring CPQ for the first time. From the setup page, we can search in the quick find installed packages. Once in the installed packages, we can click configure under the Salesforce CPQ. And then once you're at the screen, you'll see a series of tabs that all pertain to a particular setting of CPQ. First is documents. Some good settings to have here are document folder set to quotes, full page preview set to true, then an attachment target to quote, and post to feed I have in false, but that's an optional setting based on the org needs. With this, the document generated by the CPQ will be saved to the standard quote folder. You also have full preview of each document, full visibility of the line items, and they will be saved to the quote itself rather than being attached to the opportunity. Next is groups. Here, you can enable groups, which is a great setting to have if your org has a standard set of predefined products in a quote line group. For example, you may want to group hardware and software items separately in your quotes. If enabled, you should set the object to SPQQ Solution Group C, which is a standard object from Salesforce CPQ. The name field should be group name and description. Next is line editor. Here is just two recommended settings, which I visualize product hierarchy to false and enable columns resizing to true. Visualize product hierarchy can make organizing the quote a lot easier if you're working with a lot of bundle items. Otherwise, that setting can be entirely skipped. Enable column resizing is just a general good option to have turned on so that you can resize the columns in case the screen you're working with can't fit the data correctly. Next is plugins. These settings can be left as is, so let's move on to pricing and calculation. Here, we want to make sure that enable quick calculate and allow non-consecutive custom segments to be turned to true. Enable quick calculate will allow you to calculate quote prices in the line editor, assuming no price rules are applying, and allow non-consecutive custom segments will allow you to set up price dimensions whose start dates don't directly follow one another. Calculate immediately is good to set to true. Enable usage-based pricing to false, and use integration user for calculations also set to false. Calculate immediately will automatically calculate the quote as you're adding items, which can speed up the sales process for the reps. Enable usage-based pricing and use integration user for calculations being false will prevent errors from quote calculations, particularly if external users are accessing the quotes, such as from a community user. Next is subscription and renewals. These settings will be based heavily on how much you utilize the subscription configuration of CPQ, but some recommended settings are: allow renewal quotes without assets to true, legacy amend renewal service to false, and use current subscription on assets also to false. Allow renewal quotes without assets to true will make all the non-subscription products into new items being purchased rather than being treated as add-ons. Legacy amend renew service to false so that the updated renewal services can be used. And finally, use current subscription on assets is set to false due to that field no longer being supported and should never be on until Salesforce phases it out entirely. Next is quote. Here is just one recommended setting, which is allow option deletion to true. This is pretty straightforward and just allows your product options to be deleted. Next is order. Order, much like plugins, can just be left as is. Finally, we have additional settings. Here, we recommend multiple bundles view set to classic. This is a preference setting, but classic displays all the bundles in the line editor in one page with a section layout, whereas wizard will split it up with multiple layouts. Next is product results group field name. This will depend on your org and products, so choose a field in your product object that will make it easier for you to categorize and sort when sorting in the quote line editor. For example, a good one to have is product family. And finally, open search filter by default set to true. That's it for the Salesforce CPQ recommended configuration. Thank you guys for watching, and let's keep blazing the trails ahead.